What is up, everybody? Gonna give a quick update on my 1998 Acura Integra. As you can see on the outside, there's plenty of paint fade on the hood. There's bumper damage, some cracks and fade. If you saw the car parking lot, you'd probably think that's a $3,500 tag. But to be honest, I've spent about $8 grand on the car right now. $1,400 for the engine shipped, $1,800 for the work. A lot of work I wasn't happy with, so I had to kind of become a mechanic, really take the next step, which is kind of what I've done. It seemed like hard stuff at first. Now that I've done it, a lot of stuff is kind of easy, but it's taken me from when I got the car back in August until yesterday, March 15th, to finally get my car where there's no engine light, P017 lean codes, and different things. So anyway, the car, as you can see, the paint fade is on it. When you start to really look at the car, there's certain things like around the windshield that are kind of, you can see the age, and you start to wonder, can I find new parts? Can I start to replace things once they've gone bad on a car this old? Well, I guess I'm going to have to find out. Now, I have gone and met some people online. Like you can see here where this is coming apart. And being a four-door, these parts are just harder to find. Window trims and stuff. But anyway, so I got the O2 sensors fixed and was able to drive the car, but had a ton of problems since then. And if I had just been a little more knowledgeable or even thought about maintenance on a car, I would have probably known that those O2 sensors being 4 years old could have been a problem. Plus the O2 scanner was saying that it was an O2 thing. So if I had just used common sense, I probably could have still been driving this car turkey basting with my B18. What is up, you guys? So I believe my rebuild, at least from the engine part, for the most part, is done. There's probably a few things I could still refresh. And it's been about a year since I started, and I've had to really learn a lot about mechanicking, which I'm glad I did in the end now. But so let's say the engine is a B20b HMO from Steve, California. Average 70,000 miles. Paid $1,400. But when you start adding in, I got valve cover, the seals there. I mean, I did the whole nine. So it would be exhaust gasket, intake gasket, oil pump. I didn't do a bypass, so I got the oil pump, the sensor. I did clutch, flywheel. I sent my injectors to RC Injectors, so 100% cleaned and refreshed, all working. You can see the new gasket, all new O-rings. All this hose still needs a refresh right here, and this one I see a little, so I'm going to refresh these two. I totally cleaned out my IACV, switched out to another TPS, a refresh there, a new TPS sensor. OEM fuel filter. Brand new map sensor. I knew a plug, so I put a new plug, a new sensor. Yeah, the new TPS. Ultra cleaned out cleaned out the throttle body. I took this apart, changed out the O-rings, everything, completely rebuilt it. ICM, control module. The ignition coil was fine, so I left the OEM ignition coil. So rebuilt the starter. I took the starter out. I was having a no start and replaced the contacts, so that's working great. What else? All new hoses, coolant hoses. Able to keep my old password JDM. Let's see what else. There's so much. When I first got the car back, everything kind of went south on me, so I had to replace my AC cooling fan. Went out almost immediately, so that's been replaced. Yeah, got these hoses replaced here. Replaced everything. I took this back apart. I had previously replaced all the seals, but I didn't have a tool to get the main seal that's behind this, so I took it out, replaced everything, so no leaks, power steering pump, no leaks, new hoses. My rack and pinion is bad, so I am leaking. I've got to fix that. It's on the do list. Now you'll see here is Beck Arnley mounts right here. It's a Beck Arnley and another Beck Arnley down there. In the rear, I got an OEM Honda rear mount and both torque mounts. Now I started out the build with 1320 Performance solid mounts, and it was a disaster. Whatever you do, if you want OEM comfort, do not get solid mounts. So it was cost me $500 to get these mounts put in at a shop. But it rides like OEM quality now, and yeah, it was a disaster. Do not do it. Let's see what else. So I've got control arms, new control arms, and new outer tie rods. And this week I'm actually going to be doing lower control arms, compliance bushings, and bearings, and lower ball joints. So I'm going to get the front suspension. Let's see what else. I replaced the windshield wiper motor, had been busted, the linkage thing in here. So I took the cowl off, replaced the broken motor linkage parts, tested the motor, everything's good. So my windshield wipers are working, no more slapping. Also, you can see here I have foam there, so I re-insulated the cowl on both ends. You'll see the foam. So that's been totally refreshed. I'm gonna do the master cylinder also, because you can see I'm leaking. So that's gonna get done this week, master cylinder. I may rebuild this OEM, but I have like a Beck Arnley one I'm just gonna use. So what else? Now I'm leaking 1 quart of oil every 1,000 miles. So it's been pretty consistent. Pretty bummed about it because I didn't leak oil in any of my other Integras. But it's running good now. It's taken me forever. I had a P017 lean code, and that kind of got me started, replacing everything, trying the old intake, testing all the hoses. And I think in the end, this little clamp was not tight enough, and there was a little seepage. And I'm hoping after a year of, if this just simple fixes what it was, you'll have to laugh, but I replaced this, and so far so good. Oh yeah, I also had the alternator cleaned and rebuilt locally. They took it all apart. Let's see. Oh yeah, water pump, thermostat. What else? Went kind of underneath. Refastened like all the clips, so fresh clips. I took the plastic dip off. I'm gonna re-plastic dip it. Goo Gone will get plastic dip off, so got the old chrome trim out. I've got replacement door handles, I just haven't put them on. I got a new gas can lid. Look how smooth that looks. Check out my tag in the. And did a rear window regulator, so the rear window is fixed. Like I say, I went through and got new clips for everything. I need to get a replacement. This thing is shot. I don't know if it really what it affects, but I'm trying to find a new. So let's see. I've got a Del Sol seat in the front. Oh, where do we begin? So I got super bright LED bulbs for my cluster, super bright LED bulbs for my climate control. I got a fake leather steering wheel cover. I went and changed, these were all tan, so I got brown outers to match, and now I'm kind of going with the black and tan, so I may get some black. I took all of the doors apart. Shut this. So you'll see now I can open and shut. These were all like kind of broken, so I replaced all the interior, the plastics behind here, oiled everything up. Now I took out my door jamb. I bought a new door jamb, but realized I don't really want it to beep or do anything. So I unhooked this, so now I get no interior light at all. And yeah, so what else? Had to replace my, under here, my ignition switch. So I got OEM, it just wires down to the other side of your ignition. Now my key used to fall out of the ignition lock. Let's see if I have my keys. So now I replaced the ignition lock cylinder, replaced the ignition switch or whatever. So I had to replace that. I've got, I'm using the regular OBD2, what is that, P75, and it's running fine. At first, I didn't think that this would run the B20. I was having these lean codes, roaming idle, and I thought it was just a bad match with the ECU, but apparently it's running okay. So I bought a OBD1 with a B20 chip, and it doesn't run that well. I need to get it tuned, but for now, so I pretty much have an extra ECU. My original ECU was burnt when my mechanic gave it back to me, was messed up. So I don't know what he did or just something. It's just one of those things. So I had to buy a new ECU. So that's like $120. What else? So I removed this cover and re-oiled the ball holder or whatever down there. So re-greased that. So it's super smooth now, no squeaky. What else? I'm trying to think. What else? Oh, when the guys did my motor mounts, they broke my HVAC thingy right there. So the next morning when I was driving, I smelled coolant. So I had to take and replace that. So I learned how to do that myself. Kind of cool. Yeah, I've learned to do everything on this car now for the most part. I didn't do the engine swap, and I've still got to learn to do timing belt and the belts, so I'll do that next. But yeah, let's fire this bad boy up. I know there's something I'm forgetting, but there's a lot that I still need to fix. And oh, I also unplugged the door. Behind the door there's a door lock accentuator. So I unplugged that, so no more auto lock or anything like that. I can just manually do it. And you guys, I have spent a lot of time. I had this roaming idle and these codes, and it just got me replacing everything. But in the end, but I learned a lot. I got a scanner. Let me show you guys this. If you have a Honda, you've got to get this launch scanner. It's like $125 or whatever if it's on sale. And this thing, oh my God, it shows you so many different parameters and things about your sensors and what's going on. I mean, it saved me so much trouble. I learned about long-term, short-term trim, like all kinds of shit. I need to do a video on it. But I had my doubts. Well, let me say this though, like I said, it was leaking oil, but it burns oil. Like there's no visible leaks anywhere, but it does burn about a quart of oil every 1,000. But take a listen. Yeah, I'm driving one-handed, y'all, holding the camera, so get what you get. Ooh. Big curve. So I get about 80 miles for 10 bucks. So 75, 80 miles on $10. So it's not terrible with the B20. It's right about the same. And with all these new sensors, new everything, I'm hoping to really get good mileage. So we'll see. But it's smooth, no rattles, rattle free. Listen, I probably spent half the time working on finding rattles with my old motor mounts, but now it is totally quiet in the cabin. I believe like this motor has as much power, I think, because it's a lower comp. The B18b1 is a better engine, really, in a lot of ways. However, this engine being tested, so I'm adding all different, so it's a B20, but using the B18 internals, the ECU, I think they give it a little bit of boost. Plus it's lighter. This is like a lighter car than the CRV, I think. So I think it makes up for a little bit of differences inside the car, because the higher torque, you know, I'm delivery driving just around town. I'm not going top speed or hauling ass. So I want a car that handles good and hauls ass up to like 55, 60. And this thing, you know, I'd rather have the high comp and all that, but now that I've got it all together and I've got all the sensors, and I mean, it's running better than the day I bought the car 25 years ago with 68,000 miles. Now it sucks it's burning oil, but maybe that's something to learn to fix down the road as I become a better mechanic. But I didn't think that this engine was gonna run right. Especially, that's why I bought the chipped OBD1 ECU. There was just a roaming idle, the P0171, P0174. But I think it's doable. I think living proof right here is if you get the low comp swap and use all B18b1 internals, sensors, you just got to make sure all your sensors are intact, check all your hoses. I mean, you got to do it right, and should work. I don't really want to get a ticket. I've got to get a suspension. Peace out, y'all.